Good evening, everyone. Hopefully everything is working again. PG-18, that's a good one. I made it this morning, actually, but it doesn't hurt to make some more, I think. Let me have a look if I can. I don't have any PG-18 pens anymore though, so that might be an issue, or do I? 26. I do have some PG-18 pens left. There are choices, Paolo. Yes, couldn't decide for this evening, so I'm leaving it up to you guys. PG-17 is always an option. Just checking this layer, since this feels like it has a huge air pocket in it, which it does. You know what, I might not just even use this. I think, no, I can make a little bit of, just a tiny bit of PG-18 to start with. How many varieties of PG-17 do I have? I don't actually know if I want to answer that. Let me have a look. I have a catalog with all the pigments that I have digitally, and I sorted by pigment number, brand, and the pigment, and let me have a look. 8 different brands, but I have a lot of PG-17 without a brand, which is obviously a PG. I think I have some lag, I think, which is obviously a PG-17. For instance, this is a PG-17, but this is a PG-17 as well, and it's called Silk Green. This is just probably the what the artist called it, or I don't know. This is an old bottle from Old Holland pigment, not the one that I use for my paint, but you know, 4 different colors of PG-17. Oh, okay, talking about different colors, let me have a look as well. Different color, and a different color. So this is obviously a different color than this one, and this one as well. So, though it's not really, I see on the camera, not really very clear difference between these two. And this is an unbranded version as well. No, this is Lucas. No, Dr. Schoenfeld. Before Lucas, it actually says Lucas here. Rubens, which I actually don't think. No, it's not in there yet. This looks very turquoisey, yes. On camera more so than in real life, I notice. But it's probably the blue background light. Wow. I'm not even going to start with how many earth greens I have. I don't want to go there. I don't want to. You know, that's sometimes that's, you know, there's just too much confrontation for for a person. Let me have a look if I can just get this down a bit. Why doesn't it work? Not now. You see me moving, right? There's a bit of a lag, I notice. Let me just get the brightness down a bit. And let me get this back as well. There we go, ish. Not really. We can. I don't know why. But it's not really working with me today. So hopefully everything works right now. I noticed the brightness has gone up a lot from that one. And I actually just want to change this. The software from the camera, it looks good. And OBS, the software I use for the streaming and the cameras, it makes it brighter. I don't know if anyone has any experience with it, why that has its own kind of brightness thing going on, but first time I've had that issue, and I think it autofocuses well enough. Okay, usually it kind of works. We know we had some echoes in the past and things like that, but we can make this, you know, old-fashioned, just work with the light a bit. There we go. Okay, PG-18. It recently has been announced by Winsor & Newton that PG-18 is going out of their regular line of paint. It's going to be discontinued. It's going to be replaced by PG-7 and a few others. I think their least amount of pigments in the mix is 4, I think, which is quite a lot if you're working with mixed colors. Because of health regulations in the European Union, PG-18 is going to be discontinued, at least from their line of paint, and probably others will follow. PG-18 is a bit of a weird one. I've been talking with a few of you about this already. Who cares of health? Well, you know, if it gives you pretty colors, I don't know. But PG-18 is a little bit weird, since that's one of the few pigments that's only made for the art community or art purposes. So they're letting go of PY40, which does make sense a bit. I mean, Aurelian, right? Cobalt, yellow. Am I right? This yellow is just one department. It's too many of them. And I really need to fix the camera because I look really pale. But that's not your concern. Aurelian, I don't know how you pronounce that. You know, cobalt, I think sooner or later, but they are keeping PR83, are they? Since I think it's going to be completely out of this, literally out of this world, not on this earth anymore, not with us. It's not life fast though, so PY 128. Okay, now we are here again on, you know, the level of using numbers, which I'm not sure of if I have them, which really bothers me. I do not have PY 128. Thank you very much. I don't have money for this, guys. Anyway, I used to work with. I used to have PG 18. Stop with the PY 128. Seriously, we're all. Okay, where can I get it, Mr. Pigment? Though the name does sound very familiar. Oh, I have 3G. I don't have 8G. Obviously. Anyway, I used to work with a different brand. How many pens? How many pens? I'll make a few dots as well. Yeah, Sun Chemical. I am in contact with some Sun Chemical, so I can ask them. But does it really? Would it add anything to my collection, apart from the fact that you now know that I do not have it, and you will probably rub it in my face? You know, that's the thing. If it says fast yellow, fast blue, I tend to avoid it, since they mean anything but light fast. Pigment binder ratio. Wow, you are paying attention, Ryder. Yes, ads, income. I'm sorry, this is automatically. I'm sorry, a watercolorist. Sorry about that. That was too enthusiastic of me. I don't know if you can. I'm just going to wait till you're back. Ryder, for you, you're paying attention. One-on-one, yes. For this, start now. It works beautifully. Sorry for my enthusiasm that, you know, for the ads, but you know, there's a little bit of income there, so. I used to have a different brand of pigment that was so hard to re-wet. I need to rephrase that. That was impossible to re-wet. You could literally drop it in a glass of water and nothing happened to it. One of the contacts, a friend of mine, who has a pen of it. If you're watching this or rewatching this, you know who you are. He actually ground up the paint, mixed it with a little bit of glycerin, gum arabic, I think. And after that it worked. But I tried that in my formula, so I tried to tweak it a bit with that pigment, and this works for me. With my binder, it makes a beautiful activating, quite easily activating paint. And I think I'm not quite sure, so please don't blame me for it if it doesn't, but I think this re-wets quite easily. I'm just going to show you. I'm going to put water in it. If I'm looking at it, actually, I don't think this is the new pigment, but Mr. Pigment, I'm ignoring the fact that you're saying that PY128 is actually quite light fast. I'm just ignoring that, if you don't mind. This is the old pigment. Yeah, this is the old pigment. So this is, as an example, putting quite some water on it, making a lot of movements that my brush really doesn't like, and really it's worthless. I really don't like that. I don't like that. So this works better though. Yeah, please, Paolo. Could you please convince him that I don't know if I like where this is going, guy. I'm really enjoying it, but I would rather enjoy it with more money. So YouTube, roll the ads. I have a button for it. I'm sorry about that. I have a button for it. Can I check this if this works? Okay, Mr. Pigment. I'm going to check if this works. You're going to explain what cadmium is, and let's try it. Nah, it doesn't work. It says error. There's a button here, and I can actually use it to roll an ad, but then I'm not kind of forcing you to watch an ad during my live. I think I need to give permission for that first. I don't know, in my account or something. I'm going to have a look at it. So cadmium, yeah, mercury cadmium. And why did they do that? Rather, I'm adding a little bit more because I think it feels, for me, it feels too, well, it's a consistency, too sticky, I would say. That's just water, or at least distilled water. But are the colors more vibrant than the modern cadmiums? I don't think so, right? Not from what I've seen. I have a cadmium pigment as well, as you know. Mr. Pigment knows, at least. Yeah, it's okay right now. Right now here the humidity is at 60%, which is not too humid. It's not very dry as well, but last time I was live, it was 80% humidity here, and that wasn't comfortable to work in. I noticed with from my paints. I noticed with myself. Distilled water, demineralized water works for me as well. Some people say it's the same. I think there's a big difference. Paolo, you probably know better. You know, but everything distilled works for me. No, they're not the same. Okay. Then I am correct. Yes. I think you can. But you can demineralized water. You cannot drink that because it will absorb or take the minerals out of your body, whereas distilled water just doesn't have any organic matter in it. But it's distilled water. You could drink that, right? You cannot drink it? I don't know way. Ah, okay. That's the only kind of equipment that I miss here. Just, you know, having my own water distillery, or maybe another distillery, which would be awesome, but too dangerous and too expensive. Okay, but it's getting quite sticky now here. Can we do that again? We could probably. And I need to get the camera in the right angle. There we go. I still love this pattern. Oh yeah, distilling water would be safe, but you know, the more interesting things that you can distill wouldn't be as much. Yes, thank you very much, a watercolorist. Andrea, welcome, and thank you. Don't forget to like the video. Thank you very much, a watercolorist. Appreciate it. Yeah, I forgot. I was talking about... Sorry, Andrea. If I'm going to change it now, it will look a bit weird for you, but... So there you go. Absolutely right. Sorry about that. They requested it. They requested PG-18. Or they suggested. It is of a nice consistency right now. I do need to clean this thing though. Oh. There was still some Viridian green on this from this afternoon. Let me first do this and then I'll read the chat again. Perfect. Just to prove to you it is perfect. There you go. Okay, so I will just put this down there and there, and I will read the chats. Mr. Pigment is making some cadmium paint. Oh, thank you very much. I'm very, very curious on what they, what your versions look like. Thank you very much, Andrea, for joining. I do have some glow pigments, but they're not in my regular line of paint. I've actually quite a lot of them, but they are tucked away since they're not light fast, and I try to avoid those, at least offering them to my customers, or my regular line of paint. I can do custom orders. Now I'm just using words, and please stop listening. Thank you very much, a watercolorist. And Paolo, I'm always glad you're joining. You're adding so much to the conversation. There is not a DIY version of this block, but rather I will. Oh, I'm seeing so much things. I will show you, rather, especially just for you. This was just, you know, such a good job with getting rid of it, but just for you I am going to remull it for you, to show you what you can do to test this yourself if you don't have a Hagman gauge like this. So you are mulling paint and you are wondering, am I done mulling? Is it dispersed well enough? So you can do one thing which just does the exact same thing. Pay attention. Can we do this? Maybe it's not the best quality, but you get the point. So you can do this, and by doing this, now I can even show you better. So that's the trick you can do, which basically does the exact same thing as this, but this scale is just a bit smaller. If you're working with earth pigments, you could see little particles kind of shining through, popping through, if you haven't dispersed it well enough. But also while doing this, you could actually see it with every movement that you make. Check your paint. Okay, I'm going back to the chat. Andrea, this is going to be a gorgeous color to use. It really is. You have some from Culture Hustle. One thing I want to say about that, they do some nice things. They also do other things, but the pigments that they sell have binder in them, so your paints won't reactivate. that easily or not at all, depending on the amount of pigment that you've used. So what they do is they add a binder, so you can just add water and use it as a paint, and it dries as a permanent paint. If you add a gum arabic binder to it, you make a watercolor out of it. It looks really nice as watercolor. Really nice to use directly, but if it dries, it can be rock solid. So be careful of that. They do work well as paints, but they're not light fast, so they will completely fade, or actually the color will fully disappear when they are exposed to UV or sunlight. Mr. Pigment, I'm going to say a controversial statement here near a bunch of watercolor. PR177 is better. Better than what? I'm sorry, but did I miss anything? Why is it better? Than what? Oh, you are. Let me have a look. I'm just reading. Sorry, guys. The block, the Hackman gauge and Ria is for seeing if the dispersion is working well enough. So if it is fully dispersed, you won't see any particles or harsh lines in this, and just a smooth gradient. Depending on the pigment you're using, it really depends on the pigment, on how far it goes down. So this is a really fine pigment. It goes all the way up to almost 0 nanometers, microns. An earth pigment would go to around 30, and then you would have the nice texture of an earth pigment. The pens you shown previously was PG18, different brand. Yes, rather, that was a different brand. It was a brand that I used in my very first batch of PG18, and it worked beautifully just as a wet paint. You can see it here as well. I'm just going to show you what this looks like as a paint. But always let your paint dry first to see if it actually reactivates. And you know, here you say, wow, this is a beautiful paint, this is a beautiful green, this is like a true Viridian green, whatever one loves and likes about a Viridian. But then you let it dry and it's rock solid and won't reactivate anymore. That's what happened with my first batch. I didn't dry it after it dried. I tried it but I don't think it was fully dry when I tried it. So that was my fault, and I took those out of my my line of paint, and I'm reintroducing it with this new pigment. Tubes for it could be an option, yeah, absolutely. Be careful with umbers, though, that they won't split, so that they won't the separate and pigment won't separate. Well, the binder and the pigment won't separate in the tube, but it's certainly a good option. You've never tried alizarin crimson? A watercolorist. Do I have a particular deep black pigment I like working with? Yes, PG26 Spinel Black or Spinal Black. It goes by True Black, and I really like it. I do offer that in my regular line of paint, and I might have a swatch of it over here. Let me just have a look where I have the black swatches. I try to organize my swatches, guys, for those of you who watch my lives more often. But every time I show them to someone, which happened this week as well here in my studio, I always put colors next to each other and, you know, try to compare things, and then the order is out of it again, so, you know, that's pretty useless. Blacks, blacks, blacks. Oh, blacks. There we go. This is PBK 9. Could we do the close-up only thing? PBK 9. There we go. 26. 11. I should have PBK 7 here as well. And there's 31 and 32, but those are more greenish. Looking at this one is, I think it's a deeper black than this one, but PBK 11 is granulating a lot. PBK 9 is a little bit warmer. PBK 26 is more of a neutral, a dark, in its mass tone, a really dark neutral black, which I really like. But to be honest, PBK 11 iron oxide black, the granulating effect, the granulation is lovely. Yeah, a watercolorist, I agree. I really love it, actually. Magnetite is a lovely, rather extreme version of PBK 11, but really nice nonetheless. Just grabbing some dirty blue dot pens. Adria, that is, well, there's nothing wrong with that. I keep learning things about pigments and paint every day. Granulation is because of the pigment particle size and weights. And sometimes, please don't confuse granulation with separation. Because sometimes a pigment mix separates, meaning you would see one color more than the other. And I don't offer a lot of mixes. Janina, welcome. Hi. Thank you for saying hello, and thanks for joining. And don't forget to like. Oh, there's the camera. I'm sorry, no, just kidding. So you have the, I'm just going to do the all-in-one here. You have a beautiful granulation of Potter's Pink here. You have a beautiful granulation of this one. Then you have a granulation and kind of a separation effect from Caput Mortuum. Oh, that's Yintika. I'm so sorry. Yes, that is Yintika. Okay. Don't drink and go live anymore. No, just kidding. I saw Potter's Pink here. Yeah, I know there was a Potter's Pink, but there is a, you know, a nicer pink that granulates. Absolutely. Vivinite, the mix, genuine. There is a Dirty Blue exclusive, which is lazurite and limonite. So you can see it separating here. Fat Filbert, welcome. Thanks for joining. This is better. You can see the separation here. The blue that just you know, makes little agglomerates. I'm not using that word enough to say it with certainty. And that slight yellow background from the limonite. And then you have azurite, which is a, you know, it's a mineral pigment, so it's quite coarse. I should really organize this every time I use it. But back to the Caput Mortuum, which is a really interesting one. It granulates. But it also separates. So there is a ton of iron oxide in this, which is not red iron oxide, but obviously it looks like a black to me. And this is one of the weirdest pigments that I have, and one of the I would say one of the more mainstream ones as well. PR 101, iron oxide, red iron oxide, isn't that much of a special pigment, but Caput Mortuum, especially one that does this, you know, people would say this is a violet-ish version. I do have the Kramer Caput Mortuum. I don't know if it's the historic one. Let me just check really quickly if I can do it really quickly. That website is a trap for me. Let me just have a quick look. Which Sylvie, could you, which product number? Yeah, which product number is it from Crema? I can have a better look. Because they have, I think they have 3 or 4 different. They have 3 or 4 different versions. But this is not Crema. I can say that. There's a ton of pigment still on my palette knife. We can do it like that. 99828. Let me have a look. I don't think I actually have this one. Oh, and it also didn't save my card. I hate that. I had some things in my shopping cart and it didn't save it. I really don't like that. The pigment lore Caput Mortuum isn't mummy brown, so I'm just I'm just going to stop it right there. It's not mummy brown. Caput Mortuum, wow, that was Dutch, means dead remains. but it's not the same as mummy. No, it's not. Oh, there you go. Those are two different pigments. Yeah, there are way better places to check the story why it isn't. Jackson's art has a good YouTube short, and on Instagram, there are reels on it. Evie Hatch is wonderful when it goes about pigments. Jackson's art, their pigment stories, brilliantly produced, and they don't have the historic stock. Yeah, Andrea, you might find a video about that on my channel as well. I do have Mummy Brown. And I have a video about it, so look that up later. There's a video which I just combined 3 videos because that was one of the most laziest things I've done for YouTube. I have a video on Paris Green, Indian Yellow and Mummy Brown, and I have a video where I combined the 3 of them. Just the videos, I put them behind each other, and just because all the videos that I made, the Paris Green, the Mummy and the Indian Yellow, weren't long enough for putting ads in it, so they didn't really it wasn't really helpful for income, so I put them together to make one longer video, so I could benefit a little bit from the ads and revenue. But I think that since I've done that, it's about €1 or something, so oh, that's not a nice sound for you, I think, is it? Are there any pigments using non-mineral pigments like real snail, indigo and carmine from cochineal beetles, or at this point almost all pigments in general use mineral or synthetic based? I don't have a video. Oh no, please don't worry about that. I don't have a video about that yet, although I did start a pigment podcast, but I have I have a few episodes in mind written down. I just need to record them. So I will talk about that. Indigo, no, they don't make it from snails. It's the one from snails. The snail glands was Tyrian purple. And the thing about Tyrian purple, which you don't hear anywhere except for here, is that you cannot use it as a pigment. Like, Tyrian purple is a dye. That's it. So all the in the ancient times, the robes and things for emperors, they were dyed with those snail particles. But you cannot make paint out of it. It will just end up being a gritty, mushy smudge. Before you can make paint out of it, you need to lake it. So laking it is basically making a dye more stable by binding it to a solid. And a cheap solid would be chalk, for instance. If you would add the dye and the chalk together, mix it up, the chalk would kind of bind to the dye, or the dye would bind to the chalk, since that is the solid in it. You will let that dry and have a pigment, and that's called a lake pigment. So making, drying plants or extracting color from plants or onion skins or things like that, if you want to make a pigment out of it, you need to lake it to actually make paint out of it. Tyrian purple, exactly the same thing. Guys, if I make any mistake here by maybe oversimplifying it, please help me out. But Crema does sell the pigment made from Tyrian purple. It's called purpurism, or purpurism, and you can actually make paint out of it. And it looks like this. So this is purpurism that is made by Crema. I have a really bad case of purpurism. Yeah. And I do have a different version, which is quite a large bottle. Or large bottle, it's not large at all. Did any moist get trapped in this? I think some moist got trapped in this. I need to check this. Which is a more pink version. I'm going to check this. It is expensive. It is the... You would pay exactly the same thing for 1 gram of purpurism as you would do for 1 milligram of Tyrian purple. I like your humor, Paolo. It's not even a joke. That's the truth. How many paints am I have no idea. It's like in 15 minutes. I am live now for 50 minutes, and I've only made a tiny bit of VG18. But I'm the lives are here. The lives exist for this purpose. So educating, talking about pigments, making a little bit of a community. There's 18 people of you guys. So, we used to have a lot less during the lives. And we have some regulars, which I really appreciate. I really appreciate you guys. But, 18 people for quite a long time, if I can check this. It's been more than 15, sorry, for the last 20 minutes, so, and only 16 likes, so something is going wrong here, guys. That's a weird way of asking if you can like the video, right? Thanks, Ryder. Oh, okay, Mr. Pigment. I really don't know if I like calling you Mr. Pigment, though. There's a bit of envy in this. You found why mecadmium exists. Please share it with us, so we have some more educational content going on during the live today. Okay, but now you're telling us why cadmium exists. Right, or are you still typing? I can't see. And Paolo found the recipe to synthetic Tyrian purple. Sorry, I'm not laughing too, Paolo, but a watercolorist who just keep recipes for old pigments laying around. Hopefully. Do share, though. I might, by the way, I might have some books on that as well. I need to check it. This is just tea, you guys, so don't worry. Ginger tea, if you are asking, you know, what the pieces are. Kind of forgot there's a camera there. Well, Tyrian purple really smells. It smells rotten. Like, actually rotten. It has the same intensity of a really bad indigo. But with just a rotten stench to it. I think that's the best. I think that's the best description. Though Indian yellow has the same intensity as well, and it doesn't smell like urine though. But it has a very very particular smell, and a very strong smell as well. A very strong smell. Unpleasant, but not as disgusting as Tyrian purple, especially when you re-wet it or wet it when you grind it up into a pigment. What real one, Ryder? Indian yellow or Mr. Pigment, just throw it into ChatGPT and make it make a summary out of it, you know, of a paragraph or a small paragraph. It's really easy. I've uploaded some books, some digital versions that I had of books in ChatGPT, and asked them to write a summary of each chapter, and it was a really quick read. I read the books before, and I have to say, it did a pretty good job. Ryder, yes, real Indian yellow. It is not school anymore, okay? We can make life easier. It's not cheating using AI. If you use it well enough and, you know, take your responsibility of using it and, you know, and so on and so forth, but it's not cheating. It did a good job, a watercolorist, of making a quick summary, right? I'm not saying it could think of that itself. All I'm saying. The message showed up, but that's you just said that it existed as an economical option for cadmium. Selenium prices dropped with which made cadmium cheaper, so they discontinued cadmium. Alas, there are no audiobooks on all the pigment books that I have. In some cases, it would be quite difficult to make an interesting or actual listenable audiobook out of some of it. take the pigment compendium, for instance. I don't know who dares to make a audiobook out of that. Oh, that's weird that it keeps anyway, Ryder, you were asking about Indian Yellow. Yeah, Indian Yellow. I have a video about that on my channel as well, so go check it out. One of the easier pigments to identify as well under the microscope and by smell. If there's an Indian Yellow on the market that you can buy as a paint, as a pigment, very easy to check. If you are in doubt, please, send a sample to me and I will check it for you. But if it doesn't smell, it's not Indian Yellow. It's that simple. The paint or the pigment. Thank you so much for that, Ryder. Paolo, tell me, or tell us. You can check my videos for that. The Indian Yellow video shows real Indian Yellow and Gamboge next to each other. Quinacridone Gold, I have a separate video on it. I can, I think I even have it here. Tyrian Purple, I don't have a swatch of it, to be fair. This is just, my Indian Yellow. PY 153, which I really love as a pigment. There is kind of a love-hate there, by the way. I can't find it. Anyway. So there's Quinacridone Gold, which looks like a dull orange there. Quinacridone Burnt Orange. I need to make new swatches of those. The original Quin Gold, you mean? Do you grind mixed pigments like, I don't know, lavender, some kind of green or whatever? I do some mixes. Yes. Yeah, like I said, a watercolorist, I need to do new swatches of it because it is transparency. It's really more yellow than this was too much of a, like a mid-tone-ish. There's no mass tone, there's no transparent, there's no wash. So I need to do new swatches of it. What is my favorite in the mix, you mean? I think Dirty Blue, and that's not just, because I'm full of myself or anything. It's not even my name, it's my brand. But I like the separation of Dirty Blue. I like the way it kind of you can use it like for a moody sky in a wash, or maybe even a brighter sky in a wash. There's a perfect denim, like jeans denim color. I really don't like that I don't have a swatch of Dirty Blue at hand here. I'm literally finding new other swatches here. Like there's Cerium Red, for instance. Cerium Orange, which I also have. PO75. I've never shown that before. And now I do. By accident. Sorry. But I do have that. There's a study as well. There's too many swatches. Cobalt green, ultramarine green, phthalo, turquoise, ultramarine blue, cerulean blue, and yinmin blue. I don't know why we had those on one paper. That was for a live. Yinmin on a swatch. Oh, I do know why I did this though. There's an interesting one for you, Ryder. A new orange for you there, Paolo, which is too red on this camera, but trust me, it is an orange. Would it be better like this? No, not really. Not really at all. So, Ryder, since you were talking about granulating paint or paper, this is Yintico. I know I need to adjust my camera. I'm just going to quickly adjust the camera right now. Let me have a quick look. Sorry, guys. I think this is a little bit more of a natural look for it. Okay. This is hot pressed paper, so this is smooth. This is cold pressed paper. This is just the most used paper for watercolor paper. And the granulation here is more visible here than here. This is a granulating pigment, but the paper enhances it. So you weren't wrong. You were just half right. And I don't mean that in a mean way. I actually mean that in the best way possible. Though it did sound mean, I have to admit that. I didn't mean to. Another interesting one from one of my videos is this one. And actually, there's something dirty on it. The ultramarine family, green, blue, violet, and pink. These two have been discontinued. So the focus is also gone, isn't it, guys? Can we? Is there something? I know it's too. I need to adjust the camera really quickly, guys, sorry. Every time I try to fix this camera, it kind of changes resolution. There we go. I need to find a fix for that. So they discontinued PR259 and PG24, but PG24 has been gone for like more than a decade, maybe two almost. This one has been recently discontinued a few months ago, which is a shame, but there are PV15s, the violet one, that are almost indistinguishable from this one. So don't worry, the color still exists, the pigment, doesn't. Thanks for watching, Sylvie. I'm going offline as well in not too long. But thanks for joining. I really appreciate it. And I'm seeing I'm missing quite a few things there. There's no sorry needed at all, Fat Filbert. those discontinued pigments that you still have some powder in a bottle are like treasures. Some of them, yes. Bye, Sylvie. Have a good night. Some of them, yes, they are like treasures. Some of them, not so much, not yet at least, because there's still a lot of it. I do treasure my nickel dioxin yellow, PY153. I do have a lot of it though. PG24, I actually gained quite a lot of newly made discontinued pigment, which sounds weird, but someone actually made it for me, so really glad that that was possible. Yeah, exactly. So manganese blue, for instance, has been discontinued since the 80s, and there's still enough of it to be sold via eBay and Etsy as a powdered pigment for way too high of a price, if I can be honest. But you know, everyone needs to make a living. I do know the source that still has like a ton of the original production. That's where I get mine from as well. In full transparency. But there are cases where you can get a discontinued pigment without even knowing that you got that. For instance, on a second hand, like or a like a garage sale, where you see maybe an old box, an artist box with pigments, bottles, jars, files, I don't know. I found some very special things in those. So manganese blue is one of them, which is like a beautiful granulating true cyan, almost true cyan. I know a watercolorist disagrees with me, or was it Mr. Pigment? I don't know. One of you disagreed with me that PB33 is more of a cyan than PG50 cobalt teal. I'm just going to do a quick search to those two and just have a comparison there. Let me have a look. Yellows. They were also, you know, on categorized by color, and they are not anymore, as you can see clearly here. Oh my god, this is terrible. PB33. This is like in your face blue. Yeah, I think it was you, what's colorist. So I have to agree that, you know, if you work on a computer, this would be a cyan that you are used to in an ink, I think. Let me have a look if we can do, maybe these colors are better, just a bit better, but they don't do justice to PB33 at all. This looks more like a whitish phthalo blue right now on the camera. I have a ton of PB17 for you. We really need to share or exchange pigments, because, you know, we've talked about that for a long time already. Okay, so let me have a look. I'm going to do a screen share with you guys. thanks for telling me that there's no audio. That's one angle I need to fix. Okay, can I quickly fix it? Isabe PB, no, it actually means pigment. There's my camera. Pigment blue. So you have PB for pigment blue, PY pigment yellow, PR pigment red, PG pigment green, PO pigment orange, PR pigment red. I already said that, right? PV violet, W white, B L K black, and B R brown, or BK is black. PBK would be pigment black. There's an easy way of fixing the mic. Yeah, I just didn't add the mic to that camera angle. I can quickly do it. I will do it. So if I do this, you can you actually hear me now? You can hear me now, right? Okay, I will just do it without the camera. Perfect. This is PB33, pigment blue 33, manganese blue, which has a beautiful spike here next to the 500 nanometer wavelengths of cyan. And then we have PG50, which has a dip in the cyan, but a peak in the green, and a smaller peak in the blue. So it looks more like a cyan, but technically it's less of a cyan. Is this cheating as well? Maybe it is. But I really like to argue about that because, you know, it's just fun. I would say this is more of a digital cyan, something you would see in in software, whereas this is more of a cyan that you would see in paint, obviously. The tool that I'm using, by the way, and I am not sponsored for this video, but they did sponsor me, and I'm not making a commercial for it, but I do want to share what tool I'm using. It's NYX Spectral. It's a spectrometer, a small device that shows you any spectral reflectance curve of what kind of wavelengths are reflected to our eyes, or our, you know, within our visible, within the visible spectrum for us human beings. So that's that. I kind of have a feeling that we can talk for hours about pigments and stuff. I think YouTube is listening with us, a What's Colorist. Is there anything else anyone would like to see? I have a new tiny marble plate for mulling. I don't know why I bought this, but I did, and I'm not ashamed of it. I think it's just very satisfying. If you just joined us, and if you're wondering what I'm doing, I have no idea what I'm doing. It's maybe the sound. I don't know if you can enjoy it as much as I can with the microphones, but anyway, this was just, I saw the little this is like I think for putting pens on it or something like that. I saw it and I roughened it up a little bit. So we can do, tell me, okay, so is there anything, just suggestions, because I notice people are kind of dropping out as well, which I understand. We are talking nonsense right now. Is there anything you would like to hear or see, or anything at all? I could tell you about the history of materials that have been used. I could do that. In the meantime, shall I do that? I'm just going to do that. And please give me any kind of suggestion of telling me what kind of pigment you want to know more about, pigment you want to see, things like that. So I'm just going to take some stuff. Now you're wondering, with this stuff, am I just showing off? Yep, I am. Please help me explain what aqua pasto is again. Okay, so just making sure nothing is off camera. I can still talk to you guys. A little bit of history on paint making materials. This is just a modern granite pestle and mortar, but it's a sturdy one. I like it. If you want to buy a pestle and mortar, try to look for either this one or maybe a modern brass one. But they used to work with stone tools on a hard stone slab. You can actually see, I really love this. They ground the pigments with it and they mold the paint with it as well. Grinded pigments also work with a stone pestle and mortar, which was also used for making small batches of paint. But there was an issue with stone, as you can see here, and maybe more so. I recently bought a second version, another version of it. Isn't one enough, you would say? Yes, it is. Okay, so a little bit categorizing here, and using like a big modern glass muller next to it. I'm just going to take this away. This is an old antique version as well, which I used to make my lapis lazuli paint with. And there's still lapis lazuli in it. 1400s, so the 15th century till the 16th century, 17th century maybe as well. So the 1400s, this is how old they are, which is really weird to kind of think about the fact that I have something of 600 years old in my studio. At least a tool that is that old. There's pigments that are obviously older. Then there's the brass stuff from the 1800s or 1600s. 1600s. There we go. This is 1800 glass tool. So we used stone, any kind. This is crusty. It is. It is a lot more crusty than the other one. And a different kind of stone has been used for this as well. A different technique of making it. You can see how this was kind of, I don't know what the English word for it is, but the stone particles were kind of left in the paint, and sometimes so making especially making lighter paints, this was an issue. This was getting like an issue. If you want to make a very pure paint, this wasn't the best tool. Marble was used as well, but marble was too soft. A lot of stones were used. Isabelle, please correct anything if I'm saying anything wrong. You have a crystal golf club that I'm using as a muller. What? That is interesting. Then, after that, during the Renaissance, a little bit earlier and after it, brass was used. A brass muller from the 1600s, which is quite an amazing tool. But this also not only was too soft, but it also reacts on some pigments. I don't know, the oxidation, I don't know what it was, but it wasn't good. So they started using glass. Advantages of glass: easy to clean. They didn't leave any residue like the rocks. No kind of oxidation or chemical reaction. But it was harder to make and very fragile. This is one from 1800. So this is an early glass muller. If you compare that to a modern one, I don't know if you can actually see it, but if you compare it to a modern one, it's actually not much of a difference. Principle is quite similar. Sounds similar. Whereas the brass one sounds a little bit less even, I would say. And as the stone one, I'm really, really afraid this is going to scratch my glass if I hear that, but this is better. This has been used by, I don't know who. This is from the same time of Rembrandt. Could be Rembrandt. Probably not, but the idea that this is from the same period is very nice. So this is kind of a just a history lesson of tools that have been used. This was way too soft as well. Thanks for subscribing, Isabelle. Thanks. I'm glad that you like rocks. Maybe I have way more of this, but maybe it's in a bottle and just, made into a pigment, I don't know. This is a very crusty one, I have to admit. I'm going to take a little chip of the outer shell of dried paint, and I'm going to put it under the microscope soon, I think. So this was my collection of tools. I'm not going to do a collection of pigment. That is going to take too long of a time. Things that you should avoid while making paint. This is, for pressing down coffee, which works absolutely nice, like on glass. It works very nice. If you are using this, you need to make sure that you have a stainless steel one, like a solid stainless steel one. This is a chrome one. You can actually see the cheaper metal coming through. I don't know if you can see it there or here or anywhere. You can see the cheaper metal coming through. So maybe sand this first if it does, and then use it. But I don't know what kind of metal is used. You can use bottom of glasses, or like this was for a candle. And I found this in a grass shell as well. This is just, this is the exact same size, even bigger than this tiny muller. You can mull with this perfectly. Like this, I just found this for 50 cents. It's not that I need it to mull with, but as an educational tool, I just like to show it. Yeah, if you rust it, it might be a cheap alloy in it, so I'm not afraid of rust. It might oxidize. Yeah, I don't know. I think that's about it, guys. Right. I would like to thank everyone for joining me, us, each other here in the chat again. I've had a great time. It's been 19 minutes since I went live. Like I said, I can talk for hours about the subject, about the things that I've tried, I've seen, I haven't tried. But it's also up to you. Just for next time, maybe leave it in the comments, or before everyone leaves, I'm going to make this a weekly thing. Same time every Wednesday, 9 o'clock European time. So GMT +1. Wednesday evening, every Wednesday. For an hour and a half, maybe 2 if I actually start making paint a little bit more productively than I did today. But thanks for joining, everyone. It's been I had a good time. I really had a good time. And if you'd like to see anything else, leave it in the comments or in the chat here, or leave the chat open while I'm going to clean up. If you have any questions, leave it in the comments as well. The video, the live, is going to be posted as soon as I'm going offline. So leave it, I'll read it, and I'll add it into the next live. If it's about tools, pigments, or techniques, methods that I use, I don't care. I love talking about it. I love sharing with you guys and educating anywhere I can. So thank you very much. Have a great evening. Have a great day, and I hope to see you soon. Bye, guys.